In this tutorial, you will learn how to install the Concrete5 content management system on Linux Ubuntu 20.04 LTS. I'm going to be using the Amazon Lightsail service for this demonstration. Concrete CMS is an open source content management system for publishing content. It uses an advanced model view controller architecture and is powered by the PHP programming language. It works on the principles of having a simplistic platform design so that everyone can use and build their websites easily on it. Concrete5 enables users to edit site content directly from the page. Anyone can start making their own website in seconds, and the editing experience is simple and easy. Software developers still get a flexible and robust framework for building sophisticated web applications. And even years later, site owners will still be able to make changes and additions on their own with very little training and no intimidation. Concrete5 is free and open source software licensed under the MIT Software License Agreement. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do is to show you how to create the actual Linux Ubuntu instance on the Amazon Lightsail service. So sign into your Amazon account and open up Amazon Lightsail. Click on the Create Instance button and then click on the Change AWS region and availability zone. So you need to select a region. So I'm just going to choose the Singapore region, but you can choose any other region that you'd like. Click on OS only and then choose the Ubuntu 20.04 blueprint. Scroll down to the Choose Your Instance plan and then choose the $10 plan or higher. On the Identify Your Instance section, type in the name for the instance. So in my case, I'm just going to set that to Concrete5 server. Click on the Create Instance button to complete the instance creation process. So you now need to copy the public IPv4 address for the instance and then open up the Amazon Route 53 service. So on the Amazon console homepage, just type in Route 53 and then click on the Route 53 search result. This should then open up the Route 53 dashboard. Click on where it says hosted zones and then click on any one hosted zone for your registered domain names. So I'm just going to do that now and then proceed by clicking on the Create Record button. Okay, so on the record name field, I'm going to set that to Concrete5 so that it reads concrete5.mydomainname.com. And then on the value field, paste in the public IPv4 address for the instance and then click on the Create Record button. So you now need to return back to the Lightsail dashboard and click on the instance name. Click on the Networking tab and then you need to scroll down to the IPv4 file section. So here you need to add a rule to open up HTTPS port 443. So I'm just going to open that port now. And then the next thing that you can also do is to disable IPv6 networking. So I've disabled IPv6. So scroll back to the top of the page and then click on the Connect tab. Scroll down and then click on the Download Default Key link. So open up your downloads directory and you need to rename the key pair file that you've just downloaded. So I'm just going to rename that to Concrete5 key. So this will just make it easier for us to find this key within the terminal application. So you now need to then open up your terminal application. You need to change your working directory to the downloads directory. Then run the command chmod 400 and then type in the file name for the key pair file. So this will actually set the key pair file to read only. And then to connect to the instance via SSH, run the command sshi, append the file name for the key pair file, and then type in Ubuntu at the public IP address for the instance. So I'm just going to copy that from the dashboard, and then you can then just proceed by pasting that into the terminal window. So if you press enter, you should get another prompt asking you if you'd want to continue with the connection. So just type in yes and press enter. So you should be successfully connected to the instance via SSH now. So the next command that I'm actually going to run is sudo su. So this will just change my current user to the root user account. So I'm just going to run the command apt update so that I can just quickly install some essential updates that I will need to complete this installation. So next, you need to set a custom host name. So run the command hostname ctl set hostname Concrete5. And then I'm just going to also edit the default host configuration file and also specify the custom host name that I've actually just created. So I'm just going to type that in now, and then press Ctrl O, press enter, and then press Ctrl X to exit out of that file. And then next, we're then going to edit the cloud.cfg configuration file. And in this file, we're then going to set the preserve hostname parameter to true. This will make sure that every time we restart this instance, that the custom hostname that we've set will persist across reboots. So once you've actually made all of these changes, you then need to reboot the instance so that all of these customizations and changes will actually take effect. So the next thing that we're going to do is to install Apache, MySQL, PHP, and also to download the Concrete5 web application. So reconnect to the instance via SSH, and again run the command sudo su. So once you've done those things, I'm just going to paste in actually before I do that, I'm going to create a screen session so that if I lose my connection to the server, that the installation won't be interrupted actually. So just type in screen and then specify the S parameter and then type in your session name. And then next, you then need to paste in that command which will actually install MariaDB PHP as well as the Apache web server. So next, you then need to change your working directory to the etc php 7.4 and then Apache to directory. So in this file, you then need to edit the php.ini configuration file. So in this file, there are a few changes that we're actually going to make and check actually. So I'm just going to check if file uploads are on and if allow URL if open is on, as well as the memory limit. So I'm just going to increase that to 512 megabytes of memory, as well as the upload max file size limit. I'm also going to increase that to 1 gig. All right. So let me just also check my time zone there and also make a modification for my current time zone. So once you've made these changes, you can then restart the Apache system service so that all of these changes can actually take effect. Okay, so let me just check the status of the Apache system service just to see if it's actually still running. So as you can see, everything is actually still good. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a database for the Concrete5 application. So just run the command MySQL, and that will just connect you through to the MySQL shell. And then run the command create database Concrete5. And then I'm then going to run the command create user Concrete5 user at localhost. And then I'm going to then set the password here. So you then need to type in identified by, and then type in your secure password there. So you then need to grant the required privileges for this user. So there's an additional command that you need to run here. So you need to type in grant all on Concrete5 to the Concrete5 user that we've actually just created. So let me see. Okay, let me just make a correction there. Made a mistake. Let me just restart the process again. So I'm just going to, let me just copy and paste because I actually have this command in my notepad actually. So I'm just going to paste that into the terminal window. Okay, so just paste that in, and I'll also include a link in the video description as to where you can actually find these commands. So once you've run through all of these commands, let me just make a change on the password there. So it needs to be secure password. So just run that again, and then we should be good to go now. So I'm just going to flash privileges and also exit out of the MySQL shell here. And then we're then going to proceed with the installation. So I'm just going to exit out of the shell. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually download the Concrete5 installation zip file actually. So it's about 50 megabytes in size. So it can take a bit of some time to download depending on the performance of your internet connection. So you then need to unzip this file. So let me just run the command unzip and then type in the file name for the Concrete5 zip file. But it looks like I don't have unzip installed. So I'm just going to install it now. So you just need to run the command apt install unzip. Okay, so once you've made that installation, let me just try to unzip that archive file. So as you can see, I'm actually now unzipping the Concrete5 zip file. And then once the unzip process is complete, we're then going to then copy through this file to the default Apache 2 directory. So what we now need to do is to paste in a command that then moves this directory to the HTML directory. And then I'm just going to move through to that directory just to confirm if I have actually done the right thing here. So let's see. Okay, so I've moved into the Concrete5 directory. And then if you can list out all the files in that directory, you can see that we've actually successfully copied through all of the required files. So I'm just going to change the owner and the permissions on the default, on the Concrete5 directory. And then I'm also going to create a virtual host configuration file for the Concrete5 application. So I'm just going to paste in the configuration there, and then you just need to make a change on the server admin. You need to type in a valid email address there and also the server name. So you need to set that to your domain name so that the server can actually listen for connections coming through from that domain name. Okay, so once you've made those changes, you then need to run the command a2 site concrete5.conf to enable the virtual host configuration file. And then you need to also restart and reload the Apache 2 web server. So once you've actually made these changes, you can then try to access the Concrete5 web application from a web browser. So you can actually use any browser that you like. It can be Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, whatever you'd like to use. So I'm now connecting through to the web-based console for the Concrete5 application. So you just need to type in the domain name that's actually pointing to the Linux Ubuntu server. And as you can see, we're now greeted with the Concrete5 installation wizard. So I'm just going to proceed with my English language there. And then as you can see, we've got all of the required items there. So you can just click on the continue installation button. So here you now need to set a name for the site. So I'm just going to set that to be similar to the domain that is actually pointing to this server. And then I'm going to type in an administrator email address as well as an administrator password to actually protect the Concrete5 application. So just type in an administrator password. So you need to remember this is the password that we actually use to make changes to your site. So on the database section, you then need to type in the server. So I'm just going to set that to localhost. And then I'm going to set the username. So this is the same username that we actually created within the MySQL shell, as well as the password that we set for that as well. Then you also need to specify the database name. So in my case, it was actually Concrete5. And then click on the yes, I understand and agree to the privacy policy. And then click on the install Concrete5 button. So the installation will take about 5 minutes or less depending on the performance of your server. So you just need to be a bit patient for the installation process to complete. So once the process is done, you should now see a message telling you that the installation is complete. and then you can then click on the edit your site button so that you can actually see the default page that Concrete5 sets up for you. So you can actually use the learn the basics pop-up to actually choose how to quickly make changes to your new default site. And this is what it actually looks like here. So basically, it's a simple system that you can use to quickly build a website, and you can make as many changes as you'd like, depending on if it's actually a feature that is supported within the Concrete5 application. So next, I'm then going to show you how you can secure the Concrete5 web application with a free Let's Encrypt SSL certificate. So you need to reconnect. Actually, before you reconnect, you can actually see that the connection here is actually marked as not secure. So that's the thing that we need to address so that we are actually connecting through using a secure connection. So the first thing you need to do is you need to copy and paste that command to install the Python 3 certbot utility. And then next, you then need to run the command certbot Apache and then specify your domain name there. So once you press enter, the certbot utility will then go through a process of asking you some questions. You need to type in your email address, you need to agree to the terms of service, and then you then need to agree to the installation actually. So once the setup is complete, if you retry to load up the web application, you should now see that the connection is actually secure. So if you click on the lock icon on the top left, you should now see that the connection is actually secure. And if let me just check the certificate details, and as you can see, it's actually a Let's Encrypt SSL certificate. So that's been it, guys. That's a quick look at how you can install the Concrete5 web application. I hope this tutorial has been informative, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.